Ooh, before we talk about Donald Trump, I gotta say, we've got a $5 million trading challenge starting on Monday. And if you want to be a part of every single trade and options trade, stock trade, short, long, you name it that happens, make sure you're part of the Stocks and Psychology of Money group. Take advantage of the 60% off coupon code link down below. You could join the Elite Hustlers course to build your income, join the stocks or the real estate groups to build your investing wealth, or check out some of the other programs on building your net worth. Thanks so much. What the heck is Donald Trump up to? Well, in this video, not only are we going to analyze a little bit about the 2024 election landscape, but we're also going to look at Donald Trump's contract, which might actually limit his ability to come back to Twitter. Let's take a look at that and try to understand what's going on as well with the Democrats post-election. Now, the big red wave we were expecting to see is, well, obviously absent at this point with the exception of in the stock market. Stock market is suffering a massive red wave. Republicans did take control of the House of Representatives, and Nancy Pelosi is potentially thinking about retiring. Not only is she thinking about retiring, but obviously she's not going to be Speaker of the House anymore as Kevin McCarthy takes over. Nancy Pelosi, in an interview with Anderson Cooper, talked about how she was woken up to bangs at her door at 5 a.m. when her husband, Paul Pelosi, was attacked by a man who was looking for Nancy Pelosi. Paul Pelosi ended up going into surgery to repair a skull fracture and serious injuries to his right arm and hands. He's since been released from the hospital. Last week he got out, and he's now apparently pacing himself with what could be a long recovery. Nancy Pelosi has indicated that this incident absolutely affects her decision to continue serving her congressional district, which she says she loves serving, but realizes not only will she no longer be Speaker of the House, but questions how long she'll actually remain as even a representative of that district. Now, Donald Trump and competitors are, as well as moderate Republicans, are trying to figure out where to pick up after this election. The 2024 landscape is also starting to shape up. Mike Pence is considering a run. Former Secretary of State Mike Pompeo is considering a run. Nikki Haley, who was the ambassador to the United Nations, is considering a run. She did say she didn't want to run against Trump, but after the election is now, quote, seriously looking at it. Tim Scott, Ted Cruz, Rick Scott, and of course, Ron DeSantis are all considering runs. Some are even suggesting maybe Paul Ryan could run, although Paul Ryan was more notable for suggesting that now it's time Republicans get, quote, past Trump. Of course, there have been plenty of collective angry tweets over the weekend suggesting anyone who was anti-Trump was killing their political career. That still didn't stop people like Paul Ryan from saying exactly, quote, it's palpable right now we get past Trump. We start winning elections. We stick with Trump. We keep losing elections. This obviously is something that's a popular quote for moderate Republicans, but not so popular for those who still support Donald Trump. Chris Christie echoed this. He said this weekend, quote, we keep losing and losing and losing. And the fact of the matter is the reason we're losing is because Donald Trump has put himself before anyone else, said the former New Jersey governor. This was on Saturday. He called on the GOP to, quote, get our house in order, not be afraid, and stand up to the former president, stand up against lies, stand up against pettiness, and stand up against self-interest, suggesting that Chris Christie might run again. Ron DeSantis didn't have a direct slam on Donald Trump, but did have the following to say, quote, when you stand up for what's right, when you show people you're willing to fight for them, they will walk over broken glass barefoot to come vote for you. DeSantis ended up drawing a standing ovation as he suggested we've got a lot more to do. Remember, he was the one who fought for the Don't Say Gay bill against Disney's opposition. And now it's DeSantis who swept the election clean, and it's the CEO of Disney who's lost his job, although he's still getting his multi-million-dollar severance paycheck for the pay that he was agreed to or had agreed to receive had he stayed. Donald Trump, when asked about returning to Twitter, suggests he doesn't see any reason for returning to Twitter, suggesting that his performance on Truth Social was doing phenomenally well. Of course, this is where things get interesting. See, Donald Trump actually has a licensing agreement with the Truth Social media group, which allows them to use the Donald Trump name in promoting Truth Social. In addition to that, Truth Social has a SPAC merger vote coming up, which heavily is dependent on Donald Trump's presence as essentially exclusive to Truth Social. But beyond that, take a look at this. From December 2021 to 18 months thereafter, Donald Trump has agreed to first channel any and all social media communications to Truth Social before posting the same social media communication anywhere else. The only exemption could potentially be political fundraising communication or get out the vote communication. Otherwise, Donald Trump is bound to post on Truth Social first, and he is bound to do so until the third week of June 2023. So think about that. June 2023 is when Donald Trump is bound to post, or until Donald Trump is bound to post to Truth Social. As long as, of course, he provides a 6-hour exclusive license to Truth Social. So in theory, he could post to Twitter. His post would just be delayed by 6 hours, which honestly is kind of lame. We like instant gratification, not stuff that's 6 hours old. That said, Donald Trump could terminate his agreement with notice to Truth Social after June 23rd. If he does not, then Donald Trump's exclusive 6-hour agreement continues for 6 months on a rolling basis forever. So until Donald Trump terminates, he will continue automatically being signed up to 6-hour exclusive commitments for 6-month terms over and over and over again, as long as there's no force majeure or potential reason the contract could not be fulfilled. For example, if someone died or whatever else, that we don't really need to speculate about right now, because that would be quite an edge case scenario to argue force majeure, as both sides would probably seek to fulfill contract obligations. And I don't think we need to get into a legal discussion about force majeure right now, because instead, it is unlikely that Donald Trump is going to post solely because of not only this agreement, but his likely equity interest in DWAC, which is the Truth Social SPAC. That's DWAC. That is the ticker symbol for the SPAC. Of course, how much ownership Donald Trump actually has in the Truth Social Media Group is relatively unclear. We do know that the Truth Social Media Group has a stake of 65.9% of the ownership of DWAC as of the SPAC filing. DWAC public shareholders actually only have a 14.9% stake. The DWAC sponsor has a 4.3% stake. PIPE investors, early investors, a 7.1% stake. Warrants, 7.4%. Point is, it's not exactly clear how much of DWAC Donald Trump owns, but Donald Trump likely owns a significant portion of shares in this company. And so not only does he have this contract that at bare minimum keeps him from posting on Twitter, unless it's a specific political message, with anything less than a 6-hour delay, Donald Trump probably also has a financial interest in not posting to Twitter until certainly at least June of 2023. But even then, if he were to terminate his agreement, his financial interest in the Truth Social Media Group could potentially plummet, which would mean he'd be shooting himself financially in the foot to post on Twitter by terminating that agreement, when his finances would then be hurt because his ownership value in DWAC would plummet. Which, golly, would Donald Trump ever do anything motivated by money, money, money? Okay, I can't sing karaoke, but I can tell you this. Donald Trump, I expect at some point in the future, will start posting political messages on Twitter in accordance with what he's allowed to do. But will he shoot himself in the foot and post everything on Twitter like he used to? Probably not, especially since there are plenty of people who like to take what Donald Trump says on Truth Social and make plenty of posts about what Donald Trump is up to. Anyway, this is the latest with Trump. What do you think about the 2024 landscape? Do you think DeSantis is going to end up beating out Trump in the primaries? Or is it going to be a Democrat like Gavin Newsom who ends up going head-to-head against Donald Trump in 2024? Let me know in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one. Bye.